My name is Nick Money. I'm one of the directors of Swoboda Research Centre. You're all most welcome today. We're delighted that you're here. We've got people from the US, people from France, Scotland, Wales, England and Ireland and Northern Ireland, which is fantastic to have such a range of geographies and organisations represented. We have credit unions, Swoboda member credit unions and other credit unions. We have suppliers, we have academics, we have consultants, and we're all here to get our brains going and to consider today issues about the future. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But first, I want to hand over to the event sponsor, Peter Robinson from Cantor Fitzgerald, Ireland.
Thanks, everyone. We're delighted to sponsor this annual conference in Ireland. The work the guys do in Swoboda Research Centre is second to none and really informative stuff. The dinner last night was great chats as well. Great to get to meet some new credit unions that I haven't met before. Thanks to everyone from travelling near and far. The agenda today is really fantastic. It's one of the best agendas I've seen for any conference from a credit union event. So enjoy the day. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to Nick, and enjoy it.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much, Peter. Clicker problem. So I want to say a specific thank you before we go on to our corporate members. So these are organisations who support the work of the centre. There is, I'm sure, I hope, some reputational and brand benefit to doing so, but they're doing it primarily because we are all collectively trying to support the development of the credit union movement. So I'm really pleased that these organisations support Swoboda. There's a couple who are outside with some information if you want to have a chat with them, but there's also, I think, representation from pretty much everybody. I think the AS1 team aren't here, but everyone else is here. So if you want to talk to one of those organisations, check people's name badges out during the breaks. And a little bit of boring housekeeping. There should be tea and coffee out there all day. Keep yourselves topped up. I'll come on to the agenda in a minute, but we have got a break coming up and obviously lunch. There's some free Wi-Fi if you need it. There isn't expected to be a fire, so charge that way and that way. The presentations and a video of the day will be made available after the event, so if that's helpful, you don't need to furiously take notes. Just a couple of updates on what's going on with Swoboda. A couple of reports have come out recently. You may have read our report on the AI landscape by David Fagelman. David's over there if you want to speak to him. Give us a wave, David. Yeah, so if anyone wants to talk to David about AI, he's around. That's a fantastic report. You may have seen also the Outlook report that Drover put together. Where's Daryl? Daryl's here. You want to catch up with Daryl on that? That is a sort of review of issues facing credit unions today and how they're feeling about it. And that covers credit unions across the community we have in the room today. And what you probably won't have seen, because we haven't really got around to publicising it yet, is we've just released a report called Fueling the Mission, which is about trying to examine whether or not there's a liquidity issue, a lending liquidity issue for credit unions in Britain. Spoiler alert, we don't think there is. But there are some credit unions who are struggling, and there's some really interesting issues raised about the use of subordinated debt in British credit unions and the introduction of savings accounts with an interest rate, move away from dividend from some credit unions. So some interesting things to think about. I think that'll be interesting to Irish credit unions as well. Coming up soon, our credit unions banks. Don't all shout at me. Just trying to tease that one out. We've got a report coming out on that by one American author. We've got a review of the common bond. There's a consultation just in process in Britain around the common bond. So we've just had a bit of a drains up on what's it all about, what's the point. I know that's a point of interest in Ireland too, with some of the changes and mergers going on. So that will be coming out soon enough. And a big report, big piece of research that Professor Olive McCarthy has been doing on sustainability and credit unions, which we're hoping to come out over the summer, how the credit unions can lead their communities in the transition to net zero. We've also got a piece of work going on that Peter Davis is leading. Peter spoke to us this time last year. Peter's around somewhere. He's over there. And there's a survey to support Peter's work, which is on collaboration in looking at how Irish credit unions collaborate or might collaborate. There's a survey on you should have a little leaflet with some QR codes on it. So for Irish credit unions, please pick up that survey. We'll send it out afterwards, but it would be great to get your responses. And there's some other bits and bobs on that leaflet with other QR codes taking you to some of these reports and things. We've got the launch of a project in Britain on the 10th of June, the United Vision Project, which is to develop a vision for British credit unions for 2035, which we're really excited about with New Economics Foundation. So that's kicking off on the 10th of June in Manchester. Oh, I've gone. And we've got our autumn conference will be in Liverpool this year. For those of you who are developing a fondness for Manchester, we've decided to freshen things up. Going to Liverpool, 21st of November. There'll be a dinner the day before. At the moment, we're planning the chairs workshop for the day after, see how the feedback goes from tomorrow. And at some point, we will be launching a new Sense Makers program for chief executives, with the other one concluded just yesterday. So quite a lot going on. Hopefully we'll be keeping you up to date with emails and things, but you can always check the website or contact me. So today, I'm going to loop together some disparate, some stretched and tortured metaphors to try and tee up the discussion today. Last year, for those of you who were here, you might remember we talked about collaboration, how we can do it more, how we can do it better. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of promise in the room. And we can see there's definitely things going on. I'm not saying they all came out of our conference, but there's a lot of exciting things going on, like the Credit Union Mortgage Services, QSO, like the £1 initiative in Britain, and CU Share, £1 Greater Manchester, CU Share, currently in Scotland. So there's lots going on. But collaboration, as we know, is one of the means to an end, the end of pursuing our mission, pursuing our purpose as credit unions. And what we want to talk about today is thinking ahead about how that purpose and that mission can survive and flourish in the context of the very significant environmental changes that are happening around us. And I use the word environmental in its broadest sense. So, the first of my tortured metaphors, this is a picture of the leopard, who is a count in Sicily in the 18-something or others, 1860-ish starting. It's a novel by an Italian author called Lampedusa. And the Count is 1,000 years of family history. He's facing revolution in Italy. All the different states of Italy are coming together. Italy's unifying. There is class war. And the Count says, if we want things to stay the same, everything must change. He thinks that he can ride this wave because his family always have. We'll let these people have some democracy. We'll let these people have a little bit of power and stuff. And my class will continue to survive. But the reality is that everything is swept away. Revolution happens. The world is changed unutterably. And his family, in the aristocratic world they've inhabited, is gone. So my thought here is that we can't surf the wave. We can't hang on to something that's gone, that doesn't fit a modern world. If we want to stay, we can't do minor tweaks, rebrands, better internet banking. That sort of stuff is not going to be enough. We need transformation, and we need it to be led by our purpose. Digitization is not just having an app on the front. We've got to talk about how we transform our organizations. The next thing is our friend Patrick Lawler. Is Patrick here yet? No, hopefully Patrick will be here today. So Patrick works for the Irish League of Credit Unions. Some of you may have seen a very stimulating piece he wrote on LinkedIn recently about the need for credit unions to adapt. And a key point he drew out is, and he's not the first to do this, is the role of how Revolut has attracted younger people in particular in Ireland. Tremendous adoption of that brand and offer by the population in Ireland. Big in Britain as well, but I think it's so significant in Ireland, as I understand, it's now a verb, right? I'm going to revolute you that. We're not in that space, and Patrick is challenging us to think about what it is that the young people want and how we're going to be able to meet their way of thinking and their way of working. Are we offering relevant value to the younger people? So, and the final thing I wanted just to suggest, here is a picture of a garden. This is Mount Stewart in County Down. Mount Stewart, this is a picture of Mount Stewart now. If you saw a picture of Mount Stewart from, let's say, 50 years ago, it would not look like this. They have had to, this is an example of a garden which has had to change the plants that grow in the garden because the climate is more unpredictable. It's more prone to drought, it's more prone to flood. So they have had to change, not just potentially the beautiful layout, but the actual plants in the garden. It is fundamental change. And I think, again, this is what I think we have to be thinking about, and we've got we'll come on to this in a second, we've got some great speakers that will help us think about the fact that we're going to have to change. The ecological issue I sort of leave as a secondary. The key point I'm trying to make there is around, if something as fundamental as a garden is having to change to adapt to its environment, we have to as well. So let's just look at the agenda we have today. So first of all, George is going to talk to us about the decade of the credit union, which is looking forward, right, George? We haven't talked about it. Looking forward, good. If he was looking back, it would be a mess the whole agenda up. Then we're going to have a break, networking break. We're hoping that you're going to meet some people you haven't met before. We're not doing the over to you discussion that we've done in the past, so we're expecting you to mingle. Then Therese Conway is going to lead a conversation with Mairead McGuinness, former EU Commissioner. Just get that helicopter view that Mairead has from her previous role. Then lunch. Then to kick us off in the afternoon, Cedric from the Caisse d'Épargne. Where's Cedric? Cedric's over there, if you need to talk to Cedric and his colleague Alicia. Cedric's going to talk about the work that the Caisse d'Épargne, the cooperative savings banks in France, have done with engaging young people. And there'll be a chance for questions with Cedric. And then our last speaker will be Mark Kelly, who's quite evangelical, I think, about the opportunities from AI. And both Mark and George's session, which are quite long sessions, will involve you guys having to do some work. Paul will close, and we will get you away by 4 o'clock, because we know that's kind of the prime deliverable for a conference, is to finish on time.